Welcome back, brothers, tourists, and ladies, to another episode of The Chapter House, the Old Glory Club's look into the men who make up the chapters of the Old Glory Club. Joining us this week is the James Oglethorpe Society out of Georgia, the great state of Georgia. Peaches and cream as far as the eye can see. And joining us to represent the James Oglethorpe Society is Mr. Timothy. How are you, Timothy?
I'm very well. Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here.
Great to have you guys. And Jonathan, how are you, man?
I'm well. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Now, Georgia is one of these states that's kind of a black box for me. In my mind, it is a completely lost stronghold for all sorts of terrible politics, but I am happy to be disabused of that notion. You guys tell me what it's like opening an Old Glory Club chapter in the state of Georgia.
Don't do it in Fulton County.
I don't think that we're going to be disabusing that notion necessarily. However, there are still redeemable men in the state, so all hope is not lost.
Right. Obviously, you guys were at least able to find a few other good men to start the chapter with. How long ago did you guys come together?
We had our first meetup just about a year ago, and we fully incorporated. It would have been in February of this year. So, all being told, we're officially not even a year old in the eyes of OGC Central.
Well, that's wonderful. I know that the young chapters, sometimes they have a little bit of a difficulty getting off the ground, but obviously you got your 5 members, you got your application in, you got incorporated, all the good stuff. How's it been finding like-minded individuals in Georgia?
Well, I'll tell you, it's the OGC streams and also Pete Q's podcast send us quite a bit of referrals, and so we get inquiries via our website and email address that we cycle through questionnaires on a weekly basis. Honestly, I would also just point out that Georgia is quite the large state. It is the largest state per square mileage east of the Mississippi. So while most people think of Georgia and Atlanta being kind of synonymous, there's several different regions, and that's been really our biggest logistical hurdle that we've had to overcome is trying to organize in different vectors of the state.
Yeah, I mean, when I think of Georgia, I just think of obviously peaches and Atlanta. But what is the heart of Georgia? What is the heart of that great state that makes you guys proud sons of Georgia?
For me, we sit at the heart. We're really at the tail end of the Appalachian Trail. I mean, it's just a little north of my home, and I think the Appalachian Mountains are a big part of the whole Scots-Irish heritage. And northern Georgia is, without question, part of that. I prefer northern Georgia. Or northern Georgia is my favorite part of Georgia. I'm right on the foothills. And as you go up in the mountains, it's just, right now especially, I took a tour up to Tennessee. Spectacular. Just spectacular. Some of the most beautiful mountain country and great people. And the minute you get outside of Atlanta, as you get out, you have Atlanta, like all cities, and Atlanta is what it is. Not well run, but a beacon. And it has all the rings of the suburbs. And then it has an enormous state with a huge geography and tremendous natural beauty. And northern Georgia is very different from southern Georgia. Southern Georgia is a lot closer to Florida. Just climate, geography. There's some major shifts in geography as you move through the state, and I think we also have some challenges as a chapter in that we have guys who travel long distances to meet. You know, we're not Delaware. You got to drive 4 hours to have our meeting. And we did. We had one this weekend. It was fantastic. It was in Atlanta, which is kind of the center point. But the state is spectacular and it's large. And it's we have a full coastline and mountains and crops. Very substantial agricultural state.
You guys have swamps down in the south too, right?
Yes, we do. Absolutely, we do.
So have you guys ever eaten turtle?
I can't say that I have, no.
I have, not in the United States, and it's technically illegal, and I'll probably burn in hell for it, but it...
Oh, I didn't realize it was that bad.
Well, it was, you know, I was young, and I'm in Mexico, and... So yes, technically speaking, I have eaten turtle, and I probably shouldn't have done that.
Well, I didn't realize that it was illegal to eat turtle. I figured that was a thing that came out of the swamps down there pretty regularly.
Well, this turtle didn't. Never mind. I'm not going into it. A long time ago.
a story
I will be held accountable.
Right, you will be judged. It's fine.
I will be judged.
But you guys want to talk a little bit about the Scots-Irish heritage of Georgia? Because when I think Scots-Irish, I think Eastern Tennessee, Western North Carolina, places that are more in like kind of the heart of Appalachia. But I mean, I don't know why I hadn't considered before that it would have stretched all the way south to Georgia.
Jonathan, you want to field this one? We kind of named ourselves after James Oglethorpe, who looms so large within the history of Georgia, because he founded really the state. It was a royal charter. He fought endlessly with the charter commission, so much so that there was an internecine rivalry between different factions in the founding. And, the factions were divided on a lot of different issues. And one of them, of course, was the issue of slavery. Georgia was originally not going to have slaves. Oglethorpe didn't support the idea. And there's a very large statue of him in Savannah, which, I remember going down to Savannah and looking at it and realizing all the people looking at it had no idea who it was, nor did they care. It's kind of weird. And in it on the plaque, it indicates pretty clearly that he was in opposition to slavery being in the state of Georgia. Not that I think, I don't like this idea that slavery becomes a defining issue of a place that has a very old history. Like that's the only thing that matters. I remember going to Mount Vernon, and the school buses would let out, and all they did was race to the slave quarters. Like the whole point of Mount Vernon was that there was a slave quarter. I thought that was ridiculous, just degrading. That was the whole purpose of George Washington. And I don't want that to be the main thing about Oglethorpe, because, the man was a survivor. And the people that came to Georgia were gritty, tough sons of bitches. They carved this place out of nothing and persevered. And, that's kind of, the motto of, our group and everything else, which is, we will persevere. We will continue. We're not giving up.
Well, amen. And that's a motto that we should all keep in our minds, especially as things in the country continue in this vein. But so does that mean that Georgia was Georgia mostly spared the iconoclasm of the Summer of Love?
What? You mean which Summer of Love? The 1967
the more
Summer of Love?
recent one.
Yeah. Well.
No, we had a Wendy's burn down.
Yeah. Some guy passed out, and this is one of those things where some guy some guy is drunk in the Wendy's drive-through line, which pretty much describes everyone in the Wendy's drive-through line past a certain point. I mean, if they put a roadblock outside of Wendy's, or if they did DUI checkpoints outside of the Whataburger, that would be a very successful move. So yeah, everyone in line is drunk. It's late. Some guy falls asleep in his car. The police get called, and it ends in, I think, largely just a needless tragedy, where some guy gets shot, and then they burn the Wendy's down. I just kind of wish we could do this locally, and the other people in line just walk up, drag him out of his car, drive it off, joyride it, and the line moves forward, and these things don't have to happen that way. I just think there's a more immediate way to deal with them rather than the way it went down. So no, now the good news is, I don't know if you remember this, the CNN building, for a moment there, it looked like they were going to burn down CNN.
Oh, come on.
No, really, because they were rioting. There was a mass riot outside of CNN, and I thought, if they torch CNN, I mean, the justice of that, that's just perfect justice. And I'm at TV, I'm watching this, going, oh my God, I've never wanted them to burn things down except now. And then it turns out there's like a police precinct in the building, right? So they never quite,
of course,
yeah, like inside the building. What bad luck. But I don't think I was alone in kind of wishing that maybe if anything has to burn in Georgia, it could be the CNN building.
So I didn't remember the CNN thing, and I was wondering what dark ritual they had to perform to get the rioters to go away. But I suppose they performed it long ago when they convinced the mayor to put their police precinct in the building.
Yeah,
but
they performed that ritual with yeah, that was done at the same time they did the Leo Frank ritual.
Of course, yeah. So it's been a little over a century. I get it.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, speaking of Pete, Pete did one of the greatest all time. But yeah, that was an ugly point in Georgia history, not for the reason that's commonly told.
Yes, I mean, our friend and brother PQ, I'm sure he's done a video on it. I mean, there's been so many videos done on the pencil factory case, but
the pencil factory case.
That's neither here nor there. But I also
I've been to the tree, by the way. I walked by it.
That's up there in Cobb County, right? Marietta.
Yeah, it's in Marietta. I didn't go there to go there. I just happened to notice. Oh, okay. Well, that's a thing.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that they didn't chop it down. That's hilarious.
I'd like to circle back real quick to your question, because we have evaded the Scots-Irish question, and I hesitated to speak up there because, first off, I'm a transplant to Georgia. Okay, as many of our men are, many of us have come from other places, such as Atlanta is. And I'm a Midwesterner by birth. My mother is, or she was from Baton Rouge. So I do have some redeemable Southern qualities in my bloodline. But I think that is a major through line, in terms of telling the story of where we are at right now in the state of Georgia, which is Atlanta is this gigantic magnet that just pulls people from all over the country. And as we know, it destroys culture, it destroys history, and not only from all over the country, but also from all over the world. So, this is a reality that we have to deal with. The men that we are a part of the OGC. So what we are trying to do is to try to keep the fabric of American heritage, intact. So I wanted to kind of tie up that loose end there. I didn't want you to get the idea that we were evading that question altogether.
Oh, no. I mean, that is very interesting. I mean, Atlanta being a magnet makes sense. I mean, it does have the busiest airport in the world, which is a silly amount of little bit of trivia, if only because of the amount of cargo planes that go through there. But it's also one of the most hilarious airports I've ever been in. But you know, when a lot of people talk about like transplants going somewhere, if a lot of people in Georgia are transplants, what is the draw right now to get people to move to Georgia?
Money.
Is there a lot of money to be made in Georgia?
It's just economy. There's
Yeah.
Look, Atlanta is to Georgia what Chicago is to Illinois. I mean, if Atlanta vanished, there wouldn't be a Democratic Party or anything like it. You'd have all college towns, right? So Athens and parts of Macon,
it's the somewhat. Tech sector. Yeah, tech sector, and also Hollywood too. This is something that doesn't often get discussed, but our governor Brian Kemp and the Republican Party at large, they've cut deals with Hollywood to build these studios, across Atlanta. So a lot of the shows that you'll see on Netflix and other places, they're filmed here in Atlanta. So there's tax breaks and different things, which feeds into this movement or this pull of Georgia being a little purplish.
Yeah, I mean, this sounds like the story of Georgia is the story of the United States. The people of Georgia are, Republican, and the cities are the millstone around the neck of the good people of the larger state. I mean, because I don't know if you guys want to delve into this whole thing with Kemp and his what was supposed to be his future son-in-law, but did anything come from that? Do you guys remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I mean the guy that blew up in his car.
Yeah.
I have no comment.
Nothing ever came of that. Yeah, not officially.
Yeah. No investigations. All a big mystery.
But I would also I would also point out too that it's, although the state is ran by Republicans in Atlanta, again, Kemp and Raffensperger both not necessarily aligned with MAGA or Trump at large. And so, a lot of these accusations that, this is a libertarian talking point, often of the uniparty. Many of these Republican types they're more than willing to do business, with the neoliberals, which is what Atlanta is. That's what the suburbs are. When our guys talk about economic zones, the suburbs are precisely that. I moved here to the suburbs of Atlanta, to Gwinnett County, back in 2003, and what I was hearing back then was that Atlanta was going to grow all the way to Athens. Okay, and Athens is like, an hour and change drive, from downtown Atlanta, and that's almost there. And the next thing that we've got going, and Timothy, I don't know if you've heard this, but there's a multi-billion-dollar project to expand Highway 400 northward. So you have all of these people that continually just move, further and further northward, up to Gainesville, up to Dawsonville.
I have to move northward. They ruined Forsyth County. Effectively, you woke up one day and all of a sudden I'm in Calcutta.
Amazing.
I mean, my entire county, the entire demographic structure of my county has been transformed overnight. And it's not even the weird thing about it is you're not really clear who did it or how it happened. Now, I know that they tore a bunch of things down and built townhomes on top of each other, and I know they tore down every last piece of, pine in sight to put up another townhome on top of it. I think what happens is somebody builds a Costco. And then once you build a Costco, 50,000 subcontinentals show up like within minutes. And then all of a sudden you go to Costco and it's like, an absolute third world. Like nobody has closed-toed shoes on anywhere. My wife hits them with her cart. Like she runs them down with her cart. Like my wife is a bigger problem to them than I am. But it's just bizarre. I went to the when I moved here, many, many years ago, and I also am a transplant. I mean, I'm a proud Copperhead. Mr. Lincoln did not make our lives very pleasant in the North. And I came down here and I said, oh my God, yes, this is perfect. This is just my speed. And I moved in a great county, north, well north. When I say I'm from Atlanta, I mean, I tried to get as far from Atlanta as I possibly could and yet still be able to get to the airport in an hour at 5 o'clock in the morning, right? That's my goal. Because the airport is a massive business hub. And if you're in business, as I am, I travel, you can get to that airport and take a direct flight almost anywhere in the world. Like direct flight. I don't connectors. I'm not getting layovers. I take a direct flight, and Delta is our airline. So you have Delta and you have status and you get to the airport. So I said, okay, how far can I get to the airport and still, be an hour? And that put me in Forsyth County, and I love it. And it was perfect. And man, we had this like Forsyth County fair, and it was just so great, and everything about it was perfect. And then this year I invited some friends and we say, hey, let's go to the fair. Holy sweet Jesus. Like overnight, my entire demographics changed. They even changed on rodeo night. I'm like, what happened? We're 1 year away from metal detectors. That's where we are. 1 year away from metal detectors. And I went, I'm looking around, and I got one of the guys who's also with the OGC group, the James Oglethorpe Society is with me, and he's brought his family, and we're looking around goggle-eyed like, holy shit, my wife is apologizing. It wasn't like this. It wasn't like this, I swear to God. It was American. And then the Republican Party booth is there. So I figured, I got to ask some questions. Hey guys, what's up? Oh, nice to see you. You want to buy a Charlie Kirk poster? No, what I'd like to know is, what happened to the demographics in this county? I mean, you guys are in charge. Like, you own this county. Lock, stock, and barrel. What happened to the demographics in my county? I don't know what you mean. Oh, boy. Demographics. Have you noticed any changes at all between, say, last year's fair or the fair before that? Still playing dumb. I'm saying, look, do you understand the idea of magic dirt? Nothing. I'm talking to people who just simply don't understand what's happened or why it matters. And that's why I say I got to move north. Now, expanding the 400 doesn't necessarily make that better for me. That means that they're just going to move more of this shit north. This import people from God knows where, and I don't really care. I just know that they're not from here. They're not my people. I don't know what this is about, but it really is driven, as far as I can tell, by unbelievable levels of venality, lucre, and I smell corporate perfidy at every point. And not a single representative, because I know I harass them enough online. No interest. None. They just want the line to go up. That's all they care about. We made the line go up. Did you make life better? Traffic. Every conceivable metric is worse. All of them. Every metric in my county is worse. There's no quality of life metric that's improved. What?
So, I mean, at least if the GOP has anything going for it, it's constancy. In that they're
they're consistently ruinous. Yes,
exactly.
By the way, I met Brad Raffensperger at an event in Savannah, a Republican event, maybe 6 years ago. This was before Stacey Abrams lost. Well before.
Before she was on Star Trek?
Yeah, before, right. And I met this guy with my wife, and I shook his hand, and it was a limp handshake, everything about him, and we walked away, and my wife said, "Faggot." I just remember her saying, "Faggot." And I said, "Yeah, that is the weakest man." I said, "That's the weakest man I've met in the whole day. Like, just pure weakness. Just exuded like an oily weakness." And
true conservative.
And then almost right after, he got challenged and just completely folded like a cheap suit. And I knew he would fold, right? The guy is weak. And they're still trotting this guy out. Like, now they're trotting him out like he fixed things. And I have no more respect for Kemp. In fact, it's hard for me to find a figure in the state of Georgia to rally around. Like, it's just difficult. You can't find a single lightning rod that you go, "Hey, that's a guy," like an old school guy. They don't exist. It's it's a whole. I'm not going to run down my state. There's so many great people in it, but they just don't happen to be connected with the Republican Party right now.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Do you guys have, is there anyone challenging the GOP, stranglehold? Sorry, Jonathan, you were going to say something? Okay, we might have lost.
Okay. Well, I'm in no shortage of. I'm on a mood. Look, I think that if we're going to find a figure, within being realistic, if I were to look to a figure, especially in the absence of Charlie Kirk and the attempt that I think is pretty clear within the GOP grifter universe trying to steal his thunder and move Turning Point and Turning Point Action into a neutered, pointless arm of the Daily Wire. If we're going to have any chance of making sure that continues on the trajectory it was headed, I think if I had to choose a single figure to rally behind, it would be Pat Buchanan. And by that I mean, here's a public figure who have written a lot of books, made his position very clear over a long period of time. Now, I know he's not in the game anymore, and that's sad. I suspect he's in his dotage, and out of a sense of honor, he knows that he can't come back on stage. He knows his time has passed, and he's like a great boxer that doesn't want to come out and be, beaten anymore. It's not, he doesn't have it in him. And I know he wants to come out, but I don't think he can. And that's good, because I remember, Fiery Pat. But I think if I had to pick a figure that we are going to align on, who also aligns with all the other key people that I would consider important to our movement, Sobran, among many, many others, I think that it's Pat Buchanan. And I think Pat Buchanan, the key wedge issue in Georgia right now, to me, the one that's most important, and I would do it as forming like a Pat Buchanan Society or the Pat Buchanan Bannermen, the Pat Buchanan Rough Riders, is we're going to hold the line on this H-1B visa nonsense. That's all going to get scrapped, gone. And I think it's a wedge issue. I would tell every politician that runs under the GOP, if you do not support the universal scrapping and complete ending of H-1 and visa and all of it, you're not going to get elected in Georgia.
Now, would you say that you have any natural allies within the state of Georgia?
Yeah, virtually every working class man in the country, in the state. And I don't just mean, necessarily white conservative men, anyone who's does a black working class man in Georgia benefit from pouring in H-1B visa people? And we all know that's not just some sort of high skilled, high tech. They're having them pour in here to do any conceivable job. In a virtual caste system being recreated in the state of Georgia right under the nose of our GOP politicians, who are now, I got my representative, Rick McCormick, is like, "Oh, happy Diwali, everyone."
I
on his
saw that
social
coming out
media.
of quite a few
Yeah.
GOP mouthpieces this year.
And, so I reached out to one of my old friends who's deep in the party, and I said, "Hey, what are the numbers? How do they vote?" He goes, "Not good. They don't. It's all nonsense. It's as ridiculous as the GOP's chasing, like, you know what? If we just run Herschel Walker, we'll get the black vote in the state of Georgia." Oh, you think that? How did that work for you? It's just insane how stupid they are. And, I think it was Nietzsche who said, the reason that Germans are stupid is because of newspapers, beer, and Wagner's music. Here it would be, and I like Wagner, and I like beer, newspapers, but here it's really sports ball. Like, it's like some kind of giant tranquilizing anesthetic. And it's strange because these devoted, religious conservatives will cheer and pour money into things that then when their daughter comes home for Thanksgiving and says, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to cut my tits off. I'm a guy now." They never make the link that happened while they were at college. Like the epicenter of every evil idea in Georgia comes from the universities here, and yet they pour money into it and cheer for it. It's just the strangest thing.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even oppose it. Because look, there's a cultural link to football and tailgating and all that's connected. My thing is, hey, how about you guys take a break from that shit for a year, put the state back on straight, and then you can go back to cheering again? Can you just give me a year of focus? It's not 1952. It's not even 1962. Bear Bryant's not, it's the university is like a leaking nuclear reactor, and you guys haven't figured that out yet. Can you just stop with the sports ball thing and focus on the disaster that your state has become for 1 year? Just 1 year, give me the effort you give into Georgia football. 1 year. That's all I ask.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if this is a phenomena across the South in general, but this general voter apathy in the United States and kind of happily sleepwalking off a cliff seems to be quite, ubiquitous. But kind of refocusing a little bit. Now, obviously, any state that has GOP leadership is going to have constituents that are perpetually disappointed unless they are in on the grift. But obviously, there are men in Georgia who want to get together and want to do something. Otherwise, the James Oglethorpe Society wouldn't exist. Have you guys had any successful? And I'm not speaking politically, obviously, since we're a fraternity. But have you guys had any successful? You guys do? What does the James Oglethorpe Society do when you guys get together?
Well, our recent meeting, we had a very nice.
Am I back? Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're back. Jonathan, you take this. You've been gone for a while.
Okay, sorry about that. But yes, what do we do? That's a question that we've been attempting to answer for the better part of this year. But you said it best just a moment ago. We are a fraternity, which means that we are a group of men that are forming friendships. But our meetups, look like, hikes. Enjoying.
All right, looks like we lost Jonathan.
Deals together
again,
but bigger prod you can.
Okay.
And
so what we got from him is that they're being active, which is important. You need to be active with your brothers, otherwise how can you really build these bonds?
Hey, not me. What we also do is, because we're so big, we have a lot of regional groups. And, we kind of encourage, look, we are a fraternal organization. We have really the idea is to support one another psychologically, emotionally, physically, and any, jobs, anything we can do to help one another. But because it's so big, we encourage local groups, people in local areas to do their own meetups, to have their own engagement. And that can be at homes, it can be at businesses, it can be things like events. Obviously, we're not political. We don't engage in that. But this certainly doesn't prevent guys who are interested. I mean, I'm certainly very active in my local. I'm sure much to their great, delight. I'm involved in their local events and meetings as a citizen. So yeah, we do a lot of different things, and a lot of it is some days we'll just meet for beers on a Friday night. 4 or 5 of us in a regional area that's fairly close. Sometimes we'll meet at each other's houses. I'm very focused on business development. Having guys develop skill sets and learn the ability to have certain high-skilled trades. That's, I think, one of the ways that we're going to be successful as a national entity. Is you have a lot of guys who do really do top quality podcasting and vanguard intellectual stuff. Some of the best in the country, frankly. I mean, really outstanding. I was listening, for example, to the Old Glory podcast you guys had the other day with Tom Woods. Outstanding, excellent, really good on Murray Rothbard. Loved it. That's exactly what some of us should be doing, and other guys should be working, I think, to develop businesses, enterprise, making money, learning to work together as a team. I think working together as a team, whatever you're doing, could be something as simple as cooking meals or going hunting. Anything a guy proposes that seems like a good idea, let's do that. We just do things, It's not really as centralized as all that, because, one guy says, hey, let's, you guys ever been partridge hunting? My answer is nope. Would you like to go? Yes. Good. Meet me next weekend and bring your guys, and I'll show you how it's done. And that's the type of stuff we do.
Yeah, when you're building bonds with your brothers, no activity is a waste of time. Even if it is something completely random you never thought you'd find yourself doing. I have also never been partridge hunting. I don't know if I've ever seen a partridge. Can you eat partridge?
I'm going to find yes, you can, absolutely.
Wonderful, spitting out birdshot. Is Jonathan back? Okay, so we still have lost Jonathan to the Rothschild DDoS attack that we are currently
yes,
suffering.
They attack him. They attack his throat.
Yes, exactly. So Timothy, you mentioned that you had been doing a little traveling up to Tennessee. What sort of relationship does the James Oglethorpe Society have with her sister chapters in other states?
Extensive. I travel quite a bit on business, and when I do, I reach out to other Old Glory Club chapters. And in addition, I reach out to entities like New Founding. In my case, I was up in Tennessee near Cookeville, hooked up with Andrew Isker and guys from the Exit Group, which is really a parallel institution doing the Lord's work. Same idea. Slightly different format and more of a tech focus, but very good men. So really it was a meetup between, in this case, some guys from the Tennessee Old Glory, myself, New Founding guys, and Exit Group guys. And we had about 12 of us for dinner. That it's a cross-pollination.
Yeah, that sounds like a feast. So the New Founding guys, those are the ones who run Ridge Runner, is that correct?
Absolutely, and I have purchased some land with them.
Oh, beautiful!
Which I believe I got in early because I believe in what they're doing. I think Josh Avatoy and his people do excellent work. I love the vision that they have, and I want to live in the type of mutual support community of, genuine, fraternal, cultural, religious, sympathetic people. I would be more than willing to make a lot less money and have a great deal more brotherhood anytime. No question in my mind. And I think that's, if somebody said, what's missing? I said, genuine fraternal love and brotherhood that used to exist in this country. And we've substituted it for a lot of different things. And one of them is the anesthetic of money, thinking that somehow we can buy entertainment. Whereas our ancestors made their own entertainment. They staged plays. There was a writer, and I can't remember who, he was talking about the Depression, and he said, Saul Bellow, and he said, we were poor, but oddly, we were actually happy because we entertained ourselves. We entertained ourselves. So I think the idea that line go up is just a colossal mistake of direction. But yeah, new founding.
We've kind of seen, and everyone involved in this organization has seen the cultural rot, and as opposed to turning away from it or just going to therapy so that we could be convinced that actually we're the problem, we decided to do something about it. But I'm really glad to hear that the James Oglethorpe Society has reached out and is doing exactly what this whole network is supposed to do. And brothers listening and tourists, maybe you can keep this in your head. The whole idea is that we all are brothers regardless of proximity. And I do encourage members of the Old Glory Club to, make alliances and friendships with like-minded men of other organizations. I was also with some exit group guys the other day, and they are, just as Timothy said, very similarly minded and business focused, which, if they're starting businesses and we have the men to send them, that's another way we can get our guys jobs. So never turn down an opportunity to network, and remember, never forget how to say yes either. But yeah, Timothy, that's all great. I'm glad that you and the other members of the James Oglethorpe Society can kind of see this as the vision. What plans does the James Oglethorpe Society have for, let's say, the next year? Where are you guys growing into?
Am I back?
You are. We'll see
Yes.
how long.
Okay, let's try this one more time. My apologies, guys. Okay, let me see if I can answer this one. So the question was, what plans do we have for the upcoming year? We finally were able to formalize our protocol for, vetting prospective members and also inducting. We have plans to meet quarterly. We have the aim to be able to, find places that are, Timothy, what's the word that I'm looking for? Upscale, maybe more private. We don't want to be hanging out in sports bars. That's the point here is that we want to introduce the men of Georgia to a little bit of culture and class. So on a formal level, did I lose you, or are we still here?
No. I think what the word you're looking for is high status.
There we go.
We are either a very high status or very low status. It's that middle zone that we don't work so well in.
Yes. Timothy is he's very good with words. That's why we keep him around. But in general, we plan on having 4 official meetings per year, and then in between that, like we've mentioned, having the individual sectors, the sub-chapters, if we want to call them that, where we have, unofficial meetups. We've got a great group of guys in the Augusta area that are really coalescing very well. And so we have our eyes as well to, putting together big projects. I have aspirations of publishing a newsletter or perhaps even a periodical detailing Georgia history. I would like to be able to recruit some historians, some writers that would like to get their work published. So in general, that's what we've got our eyes and our minds directed towards.
Well, that's awesome. The more ambitious the plans, the even if you don't make it exactly where you want to be, you're still gonna get somewhere pretty far. So that's always good to hear. Have you guys tossed around ideas on how to deal with the proximity issue?
Yes, it is this concept of having subchapters that are still up underneath the umbrella of the James Oglethorpe Society. And in order to handle this, we need to have trusted men in each vector of the state, where we kind of empower a viceroy or a knight of some sort who, just kind of organizes the local meetups in those regions and in those pockets. And, eventually we may get to the point where we have, instead of every member having to report to every official meeting, in the Atlanta area, either we kind of rotate the official meetings around the state, or, perhaps each subchapter would send a delegate to the quarterly meetings. So this does take a little bit of finessing and trial and error to be able to figure out what's going to work best for our men.
Yeah, I mean that's great. We've heard this issue a lot about proximity and this idea that subchapters or a lodge system in the future is something that might be worth looking into. But it sounds like you guys have put a little more thought into it with getting the trusted kind of lieutenants out to where they need to be. Right now, I'm going to ask our producer to send me the link for the super chats so I can see those. But while we're waiting on that, if you guys had any bit of advice for your brothers in the Old Glory Club, in any regard, what would it be? And Jonathan, do you want to lead this one again?
Sure, I'd be happy to. The first thing that I would say is that IRL, in real life, form real friendships, real bonds with one another, and steer away from ideology. There's so much that can divide us. What is it, the 72 hour, the 48 hour, the 24 hour news cycle? There's all sorts of outrage, that we can get upset about, even within our little pocket, our little corner of the world. There's going to be disagreements among us, and I would say try to put the politics, the ideologies, put that to the side and really focus on just forming friendships. And it's fun to talk about, to read books and to share ideas, but a basis of a friendship, should not be, on a podcast host or, what your opinion is of some Middle Eastern country. Instead, get to know your brother's, his family. Get to know, what makes him tick. How many children he has, where he's from. All of these things. That's where the bonds come in, because the news cycle is going to ebb and flow, and it really doesn't matter. But what's going to matter in the end are the friendships that we're going to form here, so that when we, God forbid, do face some hard times, we can lean upon one another to be able to get through those times.
Amen. Timothy.
I couldn't agree more. If you don't have a posse, you're not going to make it. And the ephemera of, the information that's constantly being fed to us through a media. The bonds are in real life. They're with real people. I'm very much in the, in a unifier camp. I think guys need to be reading How to Win Friends and Influence People more than they need to be reading Schopenhauer. We're going to have to form links and durable connections with each other because, if we're not patient with one another, if we're not kind to each other, believe me, no one out there is. I mean, they want us dead. And we're all we have. So the links and the bonds we create as a fraternal group, those are sacred bonds. We're the men of the West. We're the last hope. When I went to the first, it was actually the second Old Glory group. The Shieldings were still running it. And it was very clear to me at the time that this was a very special thing. That the group of young, it was such a huge blessing for me that there were so many guys who were, in many cases much younger than me, who had arrived at such a degree of awareness and awakening and hope. My wife and I went back to the hotel room, and there was an enormous thunderstorm that night too. I mean, just a spectacular thunderstorm. And I thought, these are the guys that are going to change America. I'm here at the first constitutional convention kind of thing, right? I'm there from the beginning, watching it happen. And I knew emotionally that this was something incredibly important. And it's still in its infancy, but there's a real meaning why we got pulled together. And it's going to continue to grow, and it's going to continue to form. But we're something that I think is meant to be by the gods. We are the men of the West.
I'd like to add one more thing here, just to kind of echo what Timothy just said, which is we need optimism. Okay, there's so much negativity in this world, and to despair. I realize that it's kind of edgy, to be pessimistic and so forth, but we need optimism. We need positive energy amongst our guys. And I'm a little bit older. Timothy is even a little bit older than I am. So a lot of the guys that are coming into our groups are young. I mean, they're very young men, sometimes, even still in college or just getting into college. And these young men need models, okay? They need models for how to behave, how to get women, how to date women, okay? How to raise a family. All of these things that have been stripped of us in our world, because all of our models have been degraded, over time. All that media does now is just denigrate, white men in general, Homer Simpson, and just all the, Peter Griffin. Like these are the models that Generation X and the millennials have had, and we've got to reassert ourselves as truly gentlemen, and young men need that. They're looking for something, and I'm happy to help take the lead on that, and I know that the leadership of OGC sees that as a need too, and that's why I'm committed to this thing of ours.
Well, I thank you guys for those edifying parting words. I am a believer in providence, and God willing, we will live up to those expectations as individuals and as an organization. We're going to take a look at the super chats, and then we're going to ride on out of here into the
Not
sunset.
Me?
Yes,
Mr. Let me add one last thing.
please.
If I were to give a model, if I were to conjure up an image of a time and a place and Americans. And I would encourage people to go here. In North Carolina, there's a place called Kitty Hawk. And at Kitty Hawk, there's a monument to the Wright brothers, Orville and Wilbur, and it's where they actually flew the first airplane. And if you really spend some time looking at Orville and Wilbur Wright and their history and their home and how they grew up and what they did, you almost couldn't find a better time and a better group of men and a family than theirs. And it's so quintessentially American. And, it was weird. They flew and the whole world still didn't quite get that they had done this for like almost 5 years afterwards. And they were just geniuses. There was something so unbelievably American about their whole story. And in 1903, and the Wright brothers and everything that kind of that time and that period represents, I would just ask young men to kind of imagine in their mind, that's the psychology, that's the spirit, that's the essence of what we're trying to recreate. That is American. Those are our people. They did that, and that's us too. That's our inheritance. That's our great progeny, and we're their heirs.
And we have a duty to carry that into the future, and we will, God willing.
Absolutely, we will.
All right. Christopher Burke, for $2, sends us a salute. Thank you, sir. Always good to see you. And followed swiftly by the Shadow Band for $5, getting $3 on Christopher Burke. Another salute. Well, we salute you both, men of the West. Vindicator Man for $10. Salute once again for the Bluestone Heritage League at the pub, and we'll have to catch the replay. Godspeed, brothers. God save the South. Amen, and Godspeed to you, Vindicator Man. I had the pleasure of meeting him. He is a fine OGC specimen, if ever there were one. Thomas Wayne Riley for $15. I like this where every super chat is getting bigger than the last one. President of the New Mexico OGC chapter here. I was born in Gainesville and raised in Gwinnett County, Georgia, until 16 years old. I am very happy to hear that y'all's chapter is doing well. Great episode, y'all. I'll be there.
Well, to the great state of New Mexico. I'm a Lobo. I graduated from the University of New Mexico, so spent a lot of time there.
We're all rootless cosmopolitans, it seems like. I'll be there next June for a family reunion, and I would love to meet up. So there you go. In June, you'll have a brother in town who needs some brothers to hang with. Connect
with us. We'd love to meet you.
Yes.
Yeah. By the way, if anybody's in town and is part of our thing, please reach out. Hey, look, if you want to sail, I have sailboats. I have kayaks. I have paddle boards. I have a giant lake in my backyard. By all means, avail yourself. You want to just take the catamaran out all day? Help yourself.
And the spirit of brotherly love is alive and well in the state of Georgia and everywhere you can find an OGC member. Don Browning, our favorite Australian. Chris Gard is funny, but like, how much money does he give us? Come on. Don Browning for $20 Australian. She sends us a super sticker that shows an anthropomorphic hippo with a cyberized claw for an arm and a cybernetic red eye with a missile launcher and the letters OP in the background. Now, I don't know who gets paid to make these, but I'm glad that Don Browning can find them. That guy does look pretty overpowered, so very apropos, Miss Browning. And finally, Machiavelli sucks. Being white is great. For $4.99. create family dynasties. Yeah. The Old Glory Club is a generational endeavor. It will be the 1,000-year club. And we need your sons to make that happen. So please do have many, many children. And that about wraps those up. Timothy, Jonathan, we'll go around one more time, get contact information for you guys and the James Oglethorpe Society. Timothy, you want to start us on that one?
I am not the person for contact information.
Jonathan.
It's got to be Jonathan. My responsibility is symbolism, iconography, and good red wine. Those are my roles.
And he does well with it. He's worth every dollar that we siphon from him. I believe that we have a website in which you can email us. That's the best way to get in touch with us. And I believe the link to our website is on the Old Glory Club chapter homepage, I believe. I would recommend doing that. If you'd like to get in touch with us, come to a meetup. We've got meetups all around the state of, well, maybe not entirely. We don't have any in Valdosta currently. If you're down in Valdosta, we need to hear from you. But North Georgia, around Atlanta, Augusta, even Savannah, we've got people all over. Reach out to us. We'd love to get in touch with you.
You can reach us through X too.
Okay.
Awesome.
That account's still being tended to, I trust.
It better be.
Okay.
I'm going to get on somebody if it's not, and I know who that is.
I saw them like something today, so they're still active.
Okay,
but he's. I know we have a guy who monitors X, and I mean monitors. Like it's like a chip in it.
He's monitoring the situation.
Oh, he hears this. I know he's listening.
All right. Well, there you go. A little bit of healthy encouragement. Well, thank you very much, Timothy. Thank you very much, Jonathan, and thank you to the James Oglethorpe Society for representing the great state of Georgia. Next week is the Cascade Frontier from the northwestern regions, specifically Oregon. And we will be, I think that's our first and furthest flung chapter. Look forward to that. Make sure you check out Pony Express Radio every Thursday, 8 p.m. and American Spirits every Monday at 8 p.m. where we put together the new American canon. For the Old Glory Club and the Chapter House, I am Not Me, Not You. Thanks for joining.